one about the journey. Adriel, let's start with the beginning. How did you hear about Chivin?
Well, actually, the Chevening Scholarship is quite popular in my country. It's one of the most prestigious scholarships you can get, according to persons from my country. So I've known about it for years since I was a child. But I would say maybe 5 or 6 years ago, a young lady who I grew up with in church,
Mhm.
Shernell Hadaway, she actually earned one of the Chevening scholarships, and that was the first time it kind of clicked in my mind, like, okay, this is something relatable, and somebody I know and who's very close to me that I
Oh.
grew up with got it. So maybe this is something I could potentially apply for in the future.
Mhm.
So that's where I would say that idea kind of started.
What made you apply?
I had been working for maybe around 5 years. I already had my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, and then I did a master's in project management. And I always wanted to do an MBA because for me, like, that's a really good leadership based qualification, especially if you're into business. However, I wanted to wait till I've matured a bit in my own personal leadership. So, one, I would be able to bring value to an MBA program,
Mhm.
but as well as be able to take insights from my professional life and make the journey of going through an MBA even more enriching. So, I gave myself some time building management experience. And when I had enough, I said, okay, now is the time an MBA would benefit me the most.
What challenges you faced once you started your application?
Well, that's a good question. And in applying for Chevening, I know they focus on persons who have really good leadership potential. And that is not something I was worried about. My entire life is littered with examples of being a leader and showing initiative. So I knew I would be a really good candidate from that aspect. However, a huge challenge and apprehension I know they tend to focus on persons who have a lot of public sector experience and are involved in a lot of social causes. And my personal and academic and professional life has been a little bit, well, not a little bit, a lot different from the standard Chevening scholar profile. So I
Mhm.
was wondering if maybe because of that, I would not be considered as a, poster child candidate for such a scholarship. And even more so in terms of the concerns, I know it's very seldom that they sponsor people to do like MBA programs. So I I said, you know what, I don't want to apply for some random program that I'm not interested in. So I'm just gonna take the chance, apply for an MBA program, which I want to do, and see if they would consider sponsoring me as such.
Let me ask you about the moment when you received the email. How did you feel? How was that?
Well, that was really interesting for me. Reason being, I actually applied for Chevening and Commonwealth.
Mm.
And earlier in the year, I got news that I wasn't successful in my Commonwealth application.
Mm.
And I thought, well, Chevening is a lot more competitive and they don't usually sponsor to do MBA programs. So I said, okay, well, if I didn't get through with Commonwealth, the chances of me getting through with Chevening for MBA are zero. So
Ah.
I actually wrote that out of my mind and started making other plans. And I actually had was in the middle of finalizing a job offer to move to a new country and get a new role, a new management role. And by maybe the Friday of that week, I had to sign the offer. And I got an email from Chevening saying
Oh.
I was successful the Tuesday. And they had already made arrangements for me, like accommodation,
Ah.
transport. And I was like, wow. It was a mixture of excitement, confusion, disappointment because I was like, I have to now choose between these two really good opportunities.
Ah.
And I mean, I don't even have enough time to reflect on the upsides and downsides of both. But I have to make a decision literally within like 2 days.
That's when the leadership quality comes in. Sometimes you have to make decision in no time. Thank you, Adriel, for sharing your journey.